Hey guys, welcome back to Bunny Brick Designs. So I had started recording and apparently my video shut off, so I just lost the first like 5-10 minutes of this video. So I was starting to work on the Curated bead box over the rainbow. And what I had originally said was I had found some cabochons that I hadn't used that have some purples and blues that I think would go really well with these, with this. And so I wanted to make a necklace and maybe a bracelet with these beads. And I started stringing this up and I put my bail on. I'm not sure I like that bail. I think I may want to go with this one so it's a little closer to the chain, but I'm really not sure I'm liking this pattern. So I do like the pink, the purple, and the blue. Like I like this section, but then I also like this section, and I like this for maybe a bracelet, for maybe doing this. So I'm gonna set this aside for now because I'm thinking about that, and I'm gonna set this aside, and I'm going to do I think the bracelet, if I can get beads here without them going places. I want to do a bracelet that would look something like this with silver in between. And I do like this. And then I think maybe doing some kind of a spacer and doing I haven't decided what for a spacer yet, but doing something like that, and maybe some of these. So now these spacers I pulled out of my stash. I think that's too big. I think I want something more round. So I'm going to dig through my spacer beads and see if I can come up with something in here that I think would look good. I want something smaller, but I don't want something so tiny that it's lost in. See, that would get lost. It's just these are too big. Now I do have plain round ones, but I don't like those. And so this is something with designing. You just got to play with it sometimes. See, that's still too big. So maybe we go with round balls. Just a round ball. Nope, see, that's just too boring. That's boring to me. Yeah, so we're gonna have to play with spacers. Cubes, maybe? I know I tried the hexagons. Square. Maybe if we did a square with, decisions. Those balls were too big. So maybe we put 2 and do something like that. Let's get this guy out of here. And do something like that. Decisions. Well, let's start stringing up the first side. So I'm going to take some beading wire. I am going to cut a little bit of a length. Grab a bead stopper here just to get it started. And let's see what we can do with this. So we're going to string on one of these pearls. I am going to use some of these small flower bead caps to cap the light blue pearl. Okay, and then a big pearl. And see, I do like that with that. I think that looks that's going to look really good because this blue, and I don't know if you can see it real well. I'll try to bring it up to the camera there. This blue is going to play off the dark blues in there and kind of make those dark blues pop. And then the light blue is definitely going to be a color in this cabochon. So I like that. Now let's see what the two, what that looks like in between. Again, I am trying to design here on the fly for you, just so you can kind of get the idea of the process that I use, because I know a lot of people, they make videos and they have the design all planned out and it's all perfect. What you don't see is the whole decision-making process behind the scenes that that goes into the making of bracelets. So I'm going to stick on another set of those beads and see if I want one or two of those silver beads. I think I like the balls. I think those are good size. But I'm just not sure if I want one or two. I think maybe just one. So let's try just one. And you'll have to forgive me. My allergies have been driving me crazy. I've been doing a lot of dusting, cleaning my craft room. I just completely overhauled my office, my home office. I got a book for Christmas, The Home Edit. So yeah, I've been going and doing that. Yes, now see, I like that. So now this is going to measure, and I'm going to grab a ruler here. So we want this to be about 6 inches, So I'm going to put this on the 3.5 inch, roughly. This is going to take up roughly an inch. So if I put this on here like this is going to give me about 6.5 inch, about 6.25 inches with my clasp. So literally this is all I need to do. So one of the things I thought about is, instead of putting on a a second, bead stopper, crimp bead, I thought about just going through and doing that. I don't know if that's going to work, because that may work. And just running through both sets of that and then putting on a clamshell crimp on this, because I think that might work better. And again, this is going to be tough because now we're going through those pearls, and a lot of times pearls have very small holes. But I think this will do two things. One, it will reinforce the beads. And for that cabochon, it's going to be quite large. And that's quite heavy, so I definitely want to reinforce my bracelet, just to make sure that that doesn't go anywhere. All right, and we are through. And so now that I've gotten that, I can just kind of shrink it down, and now I've got some extra, and it's fine. I've got some extra wire here, Probably didn't need that much. I will cut off. But again, I just wanted to make sure here that I'm roughly going to be, and I am going to put on, just because I want to make sure I'm ending on a smaller bead, I'm going to put on one more of these silver beads. And I think that would be perfect. So now I am going to grab some, if I can find them, I'm going to grab a crimp clam, and I'm going to grab a crimp tube, not a crimp bead, because I'm going to do a crimp tube over and to be honest, it doesn't really matter what crimp tube you're using. You could actually use a different color crimp tube. And I am going to try to do this so that I might need a bigger crimp tube. So bear with me while I find my larger crimp tubes. I may not have larger ones. There we go. Those are larger. All right, so I'm just going to grab a larger crimp tube because I do want to probably go through these and have potentially 4 wires. So I am going to string on my clamshell. And I'm going to get my clamshell in there. I'm going to string on a crimp tube. And I'm going to string it on over both beads. And then I'm going to do one more crimp tube, because what I want to do is I want to go back through, if I can, take this, and I'm gonna trim this off here in a minute. I want to go back through this first crimp tube. And so here let me try to get it out and show you. I'm going back through this crimp tube, if I can get it through. Yeah, and I may not be able to get all of them through. That's going to be awfully tight. So yeah, so I can't get it all the way through. So we're just going to have to crimp the one and glue. That's fine. So we're going to crimp. I'm going to use my bent nose pliers just to get a good crimp in there and get that nice and tight. And then I am going to trim it. And I'm going to put some E6000, if I can find it, here, and I'm going to use a piece of scrap wire or a piece of something to get the glue in really good. So let me find a piece of scrap wire. Oops, I don't need that. So I'm just going to take a little bit of glue, get it in there, and then I am going to close that and let that set. And the reason why I did that was because I wanted to get the glue really good and in. And so there we go. So there's Side number 1, and I might have done that a little bit too tight. But I may have to redo that side, but that's fine. Now I'm going to take the other side, and I think this way might be easier, seeing that I'm going to be I know I'm going to be doubling up. I'm going to do my pearl, and I'm doing both of the wires at once. I need a bead cap, and it's going to be tight threading too on some of these things. Those bead caps don't like to have 2 wires, but you can make it work. So there's 2, pearl, spacer, pearl, bead cap, bead cap. And so I'm just putting it through the center hole, and it's pretty tough to see. Hopefully I'm on camera for you guys, because and a pearl, and I know I'm using extra wire, and I could probably get away with less wire, but to be honest, this one's gonna be mine. And I found out I have a ton of Bead-A-Long wire, because again, one of the reasons why I've been organizing my craft room is because I'm a visual person. So if I don't see it, I don't have it. And so that's the problem. Like, I've had things put away, tucked in drawers and bins, and I haven't seen it. And then suddenly I'm like, oh, I must be out of whatever it is. And then I end up, and that's backwards. And then I end up buying more. And then I find it later on and find out I have, so like, for example, I went through some of my 4mm beads and found out I had 9 packages of the same color, because it's something that I use a lot, and found out that I kept buying a new one, opening it, using it, and then when I would get done, I'd throw it in the 4mm bin, and suddenly now I have 9 of them. All right, so now we're going to string on our clamshell. We're going to do our crimp bead. And we are going to crimp, and then clip. All right, and then we're going to get some glue and glue this other side. So yeah, anyways, so I have a ton of Bead-A-Long, and so now I'm like not really worried about wasting it or using extra for projects, because I will probably never run out in the history of beading. Because I think I have, so some of them that come in like 300 feet, I think I have like 6 of them in silver. All right, so, okay, we've got that. I think that looks good. That's going to be nicely wrapped around, and yes, it's a little stiff, but that's fine. When I put the findings on, I think that'll work. I'm going to do a lobster claw if I can get one here. Looks like I'm running out of lobster claws. And a extender chain. I always put extender chains on bracelets just because that way if you're, especially if you're selling them, something shorter might work for one person but may not work for the other. So if you can do extender chains, you can sell your jewelry to a wider range of people, because now I have, you know, the extended chain. It might fit my wrist without the extension, but it might fit somebody else's wrist. They might need to extend it. And usually I'll make the bracelets so they won't fit my wrist without the extender, because I have about an average size wrist. So like 6.5, 7-inch wrist for myself. And so usually most people's wrists are about 6.5 to 8. So that is where the extender chain will allow you to put on the bracelet and extend it around. Now I did do those a little tight, but that's fine. So there we go. So that is number 1 from the Curated bead box. And we will probably finish this guy that I had started, because again, I still haven't decided what I want to do with this. I do like this one with the blues. I know for this one, I did the purples. There's some white in there. So I maybe may add in maybe some 6.0 whites in here. I'm going to noodle on this one for a little bit, and we'll do this one in the next video. So anyways, that's a quick short one with a bracelet. Hope you enjoyed it. And I am probably going to think on this for a little bit and then come back and do the video. So anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.